Welcome back to the Quarterly Call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional.
Okay.
So today we're gonna take a look at Alphabet's Q4 2024 earnings call.
All right.
Um, and there's some interesting stuff here. They really opened up about Google's direction, and all the AI buzz was pretty real. We're
Yeah.
talking big milestones and hints about what they're going to do next.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how they're kind of managing these big existing businesses like search and YouTube,
Right.
but also making these leaps into AI, and particularly with Gemini.
Right.
This call gives a really clear look at their strategy and
Absolutely.
how they're navigating, a tech landscape that's changing really rapidly.
Yeah, okay, let's unpack this a bit.
Sure.
Let's start with AI infrastructure.
Right.
It's obvious they're not just building AI models, they're going all in on the whole thing.
Yeah.
From the hardware, those TPUs to software that just makes AI more efficient. They're even building data centers, undersea cables. I mean, that full stack approach has got to be a game changer.
I think the really interesting thing here is it gives them so much control.
Right.
It's like they own the whole supply chain, so they can optimize for performance and cost in ways that competitors can only dream of.
Yeah.
And it's not just benefiting their products, this is a win for their cloud customers too.
Well, that's a great point. So it's like they're building a super highway for AI.
Yeah.
And it's already jammed with traffic. I mean, cloud customers are using 8 times more computing power for AI than just a year and a half ago. That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, and that translates to some serious revenue too. Cloud revenue jumped 30% year over year, hitting $12 billion.
Wow.
The Google Cloud Platform GCP is growing even faster. But here's the interesting thing. They actually admitted they're facing capacity constraints,
Oh, wow.
meaning that the demand for their AI infrastructure is actually outpacing their ability to provide it.
So it's like this AI gamble is paying off big time, but can they keep pace?
Yeah.
And, what about the consumer products like search especially?
Yeah.
What really jumped out at you about how they see search evolving in this new world with all this AI everywhere?
They're not just embracing AI, they're betting the farm on AI as the future of search.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing people use search in entirely new ways, right? Voice search, image search, even things like Circle to Search, which lets you use your camera to search your surroundings. They're testing out Gemini 2.0 and the AI overviews. They've got plans for a much wider rollout later this year.
Yeah. It's like search is learning to read our minds instead of just keywords in a box.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really interesting how AI is changing the way they make money from search. They're already making money from AI overviews at roughly the same rate as traditional search results, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that sends a really powerful signal about their confidence. They believe they can hold on to, but even grow, search revenue in this new AI era. It's not just about having the best tech, it's about making it pay. And it seems like they're figuring it out.
And then there's YouTube, which is just on a tear.
Mm-hmm.
Still the champ when it comes to streaming watch time, hitting new records. And remember, a while back, they started investing in podcasts? Well, that's paying off, too. YouTube is now the top dog for podcasts in the U.S.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, it just shows their ability to really spot trends and capitalize on them.
Right.
Like their investments in podcasts and this whole living room experience where people are watching YouTube on their TVs have paid off big time.
Yeah.
Plus, they're closing the gap between how much money they make from shorts versus those longer videos, which is critical for their long-term growth strategy.
So we've got huge growth in AI and cloud. Search is evolving like crazy, and YouTube is stronger than ever. What does all of this mean for the future of Alphabet?
Well, it definitely means they're doubling down on AI. They're actually planning to increase their capital expenditures to $75 billion in 2025,
Wow.
which is up from $61 billion in 2024. And most of that is going to go towards their technical infrastructure for AI. And that means, higher depreciation costs down the line.
So that's a pretty bold move. Are they worried about, the financial impact of all these investments?
They are definitely mindful of it. They talked about driving further efficiencies, which could mean anything from optimizing their data centers to managing headcount growth and even simplifying the organization to operate more leanly.
So they're trying to walk this tightrope between betting big on AI and making sure they're running as efficiently as possible.
And they even mentioned bringing different AI research teams together,
Oh,
which should not only speed up development, but also help them streamline their operations.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot between, groundbreaking innovation and keeping a close eye on the bottom line.
Speaking of innovation, let's zero in on what they're doing with those AI models, especially Gemini.
Right.
They've clearly poured a ton of resources into it. What makes Gemini so special? What makes it stand out from the crowd?
I think one of the things that makes Gemini so unique is this multimodality.
Right.
A lot of models focus just on text, but Gemini can handle images, audio, even video.
Oh, wow.
And it's incredibly versatile and opens up all sorts of possibilities for new applications.
So it's like giving AI this whole toolkit to understand the world, not just a keyboard.
Yeah.
And I know they've been rolling out different, I guess, flavors of Gemini tailored for specific needs. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, so in December, they unveiled Gemini 2.0, which is their most powerful model yet. It's built for what they're calling the agentic era,
Okay.
where AI can actually act more independently.
Wow.
And they're already seeing a lot of success with this experimental version called Gemini 2.0 Flash. It's like their workhorse model, super fast, efficient, and with improved performance.
So Flash is about speed and efficiency.
Yeah.
What about the other Gemini versions? What are those focused on?
Well, they've also got Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking, which is designed for more complex tasks.
Okay.
Things that require reasoning and understanding context.
Yeah.
And the progress on this has been really fast. People who've been able to test it are giving it rave reviews. They're working on even more advanced thinking models, which they plan to share with developers soon.
So they're really pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. But it's not all just happening in the lab, right? They're actually putting Gemini to work in their products.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Gemini is powering AI overviews and search.
Right.
They're seeing increased user satisfaction, and people are actually using search more thanks to these overviews. And this is especially true with younger users who really appreciate the speed and efficiency of this new format.
It's like AI is making search, I know, intuitive, conversational.
Yeah.
But what about those agentic capabilities you mentioned earlier? How is that showing up in real-world apps?
Well, a good example is Deep Research, this new feature in their Gemini app.
Okay.
It uses these agentic capabilities to explore complex topics. So it can gather information from multiple sources and present you with like key findings.
Wow.
It's like having your own personal research assistant right in your pocket.
Oh, that's amazing. And they're rolling that out to Android users globally, so it's not just this, niche feature. It's becoming mainstream.
Exactly.
What about their consumer Gemini app? What's the latest with that?
Well, it debuted on iOS last November,
Right.
and it's gaining a lot of traction. They've even opened up access to a couple of research prototypes for trusted testers.
Okay.
One of them is called Project Mariner, which is pretty mind-blowing. It can actually immediately understand and reason across information on a browser screen to complete tasks.
Wait, so it's like AI that can browse the web for you and actually understand what it's seeing? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then they have another prototype called Project Astra. They haven't revealed a lot about that one yet.
Right.
But they do plan to bring features from both Mariner and Astra into the Gemini app later this year.
So there's a lot of, interesting stuff coming down the pipeline for Gemini. But their AI efforts aren't just limited to language models, right? I mean, they're also doing some really cool things with video and image generation.
You're absolutely right. They've developed Veo 2, which is a state-of-the-art video generation model, and Imagen 3, their highest quality text-to-image model. And these are consistently topping the industry leaderboards and setting benchmarks for quality.
So AI is like this, I don't know, this ultimate creative tool.
Yeah.
And it seems like developers are noticing, right?
Definitely. Over 4.4 million developers are using their Gemini models, which is double the number from just 6 months ago.
That's a huge vote of confidence from the developer community. Shows that they're really a leader in this space.
It does.
And it's not just about these, headline-grabbing AI models. They're also making some serious progress in quantum computing. Now, that's a topic that always gets my imagination going. What are they up to in the quantum world?
Well, late last year, they announced Willow, which is their new state-of-the-art quantum computing chip.
Okay.
It's a big deal because it can actually drastically reduce errors as they scale up the number of qubits.
Okay, for those of us who aren't quantum physicists, what exactly is a qubit and why are they so important?
Well, think of qubits as the building blocks of quantum computers.
Okay.
Unlike the bits in our regular computers that can only be a 0 or a 1, a qubit can actually be both at the same time. This allows quantum computers to tackle problems that are impossible for even the most powerful supercomputers today.
So it's like a whole new level of computing power tapping into this, I don't know, weirdness of quantum mechanics.
Exactly. And the fewer errors you have in your qubits, the more powerful and reliable your quantum computer becomes. And that's why Willow is such a breakthrough.
So they're building these powerful AI models, creating cutting-edge hardware. But how are they actually, putting this technology into the hands of billions of people?
Well, they're baking AI into almost every aspect of their existing product.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 7 products and platforms with over 2 billion users each. And all of them are now using Gemini in some way.
Wow, that's massive. So it's not just about, cool tech demos. It's about making AI part of everyday life.
Exactly. And I think one of the most prominent examples of this is how they're using AI to transform search.
Okay, let's dig a little deeper into that. We talked earlier about AI overviews.
Yeah.
How is that changing the way people are actually using search?
Well, with AI overviews, search can provide much more comprehensive answers, even to complex questions.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding web pages anymore. It's about really understanding the information and presenting it in a way that's easy to digest.
So it's like having, I don't know, an expert summarize all the most important points for you, saving you tons of time.
Right. And it's not just the overviews themselves. AI is also changing the types of questions people are asking. We're seeing more voice searches, image searches, and even searches that combine different things.
It's like AI is making search more intuitive and, adaptable to how we naturally think and interact with the world.
Huh.
And, we talked about it earlier, but they're even making money from AI overviews at a similar rate to traditional search results, which is a big deal.
Yeah, it really shows that advertisers are seeing the value of this new format.
Right.
People are engaging with it, they're spending more time on the search results page, and that means more opportunities for advertisers.
So AI is making search better for users, and it's creating new ways for Alphabet to make money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win-win.
Mm.
But they're not stopping there. They're also experimenting with new features that really take advantage of AI's capabilities.
One of the most interesting things they've rolled out is Circle to Search.
Yeah.
It lets you use your camera to search for things in the real world. Say you see a pair of shoes you like, you circle them with your camera, and Search will find you information, reviews, places to buy them.
That's incredible. Like bridging the gap between the physical and digital worlds. And I understand this is proving to be pretty popular, especially with younger users.
People who use Circle to Search are now using it to start over 10% of their searches.
Wow.
It's becoming a habit. And, as AI gets better, I think we'll see even more features like this that change how we interact with information.
So they're betting big on AI, both in terms of research and how they're using it in their products.
Yeah.
But they're not forgetting about those other businesses either, right?
Yeah. We've talked about search and YouTube,
Right.
but their cloud business is also seeing tremendous growth,
Yeah.
thanks in part to their AI offerings.
Right.
They're winning big customers like Mercedes-Benz, Mercado Libre, Servier. In fact, the number of first-time commitments to Google Cloud more than doubled in 2024 compared to 2023.
That's really impressive. But it's not just about getting new customers, right? It's
Yeah.
also about deepening the relationships with existing clients.
Yeah, they closed several strategic deals worth over $1 billion last year. And the number of deals, over $250 million, doubled compared to the year before. And their partners are playing a key role, too. Customers are actually purchasing billions of dollars worth of solutions through their cloud marketplace.
So it sounds like they're building this really thriving ecosystem around Google Cloud. What about the products and services themselves? What are some of the highlights there?
Well, their AI-powered cloud offerings are a big selling point.
Right.
They're seeing strong growth across a wide range of solutions, starting with their AI hypercomputer. It offers really strong performance and good cost for both GPUs and TPUs.
Right.
Those are specialized chips designed for AI workloads.
So they're not just, relying on off-the-shelf hardware. They're designing their own chips to give them an edge.
And those chips are making a difference for their customers. For example, they're helping Citadel with market modeling and training.
Oh, cool.
And they've enabled Wayfair to modernize its platform, improving performance and scalability by almost 25%.
So it's like they're giving their cloud customers access to the same powerful AI tools that they're using to develop things like Gemini.
Exactly. And their latest TPU, Trillium, is a real beast. It offers 4 times better training performance and 3 times greater inference throughput compared to the previous generation. And they're seeing really strong uptake of Trillium, so it's clear that their investment in this specialized hardware is paying off.
But it's not just about hardware, right? They're also developing software and platforms to make it easier for developers and businesses to use AI.
Right. Their AI developer platform, Vertex AI, has seen a five-fold increase in customers year over year.
Wow.
And brands like Mondelez International and WPP are using it to build new applications and take advantage of their vast library of over 200 foundation models. And Vertex usage itself increased 20 times during 2024.
So it's like they're creating this one-stop shop
Yeah.
for everything AI, from the infrastructure to the models to all the tools. And you're saying they're seeing strong developer adoption of key models like Gemini Flash, Gemini 2.0, Imagen 3, and Veo.
Exactly. And it's not just developers who are benefiting. Their cloud customers are using these tools to improve their operations and create new products and services.
Can you give some examples of how AI is being used in the real world through their cloud platform?
Sure. For instance, Radisson Hotels is using Gemini to search and analyze data from multiple clouds.
Oh, wow.
This gives them really valuable insights into their operations and customer behavior. And on the security front, their AI-powered threat intelligence and security operations products are helping companies like Vodafone and AstraZeneca stay ahead of cyber threats.
It's amazing how AI is being used to solve problems in so many different areas.
It is, and Alphabet is making it easier for businesses of all sizes to use it.
Right.
They recently introduced Google Agent Space, a platform that helps businesses create Gemini-powered agents and automate tasks.
So it's like AI assistants, but for businesses.
Exactly. And they're also giving all Google Workspace business and enterprise customers access to their full suite of Gemini AI capabilities. So even businesses that aren't super tech savvy can start using AI to improve their productivity and streamline their operations.
So they're really committed to making AI accessible to everyone.
Absolutely. They see AI as this transformative technology that can change how we work, live, and interact with the world. And they're committed to making sure everyone can benefit from it.
So we've talked a lot about their AI efforts and their cloud business, but let's not forget about YouTube. They're still a powerhouse in streaming.
YouTube is still the king of streaming watch time in the US, with their share of the market hitting record highs. They're constantly innovating and finding new ways to engage viewers.
And their long-term investments are paying off too. Remember when they were really pushing that living room experience, encouraging people to watch on their TVs?
Yeah, that's been a huge success. Viewers globally streamed over 1 billion hours of YouTube content on their TVs every day in 2024. And creators are noticing too. The number of creators making most of their money from TV is up over 30% year over year.
So YouTube is not just a website for funny cat videos anymore. It's a serious entertainment platform that's competing with traditional television.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not just relying on those existing content formats, they're also experimenting with new ideas,
Right.
like how they're integrating podcasts into the YouTube experience more seamlessly.
We mentioned earlier that YouTube is now the most popular service for listening to podcasts in the US. That's pretty remarkable.
It is. And they've done a really good job integrating podcasts into the core YouTube experience, especially with video podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's paying off. Popular shows like Club Shay, and Lex Fridman are embracing this visual format more and more, and viewers are loving it.
It's interesting how they're blurring the lines between traditional videos and podcasts. It's almost like a hybrid format, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that experimentation is what keeps YouTube fresh and exciting. They're not afraid to try new things and push boundaries.
And that commitment to innovation extends to their partnerships. They're not just working with tech companies, they're partnering with all sorts of brands and organizations across industries.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they're really forming these strategic partnerships that help them reach new markets and audiences. I mean, a great example is this deepening partnership with Samsung.
Oh, yeah. Great example.
We talked about how they're working together on Android and AI, but it goes much deeper than that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're collaborating on new hardware and software, exploring new use cases for AI,
Right?
and really extending the reach of their products and services.
It's a pretty powerful alliance, bringing together two of the biggest names in tech.
It is.
But it's not just about the tech companies. They're also partnering with companies like Citi to help them modernize and embrace this whole digital transformation.
Yeah, the Citi partnership is a good example of how they're leveraging their expertise to help businesses across industries. Citi is using Google Cloud to transform their employee and customer experiences. They're improving their digital products, streamlining workflows, and using advanced computing to handle literally millions of daily transactions.
It's amazing how AI and cloud computing are changing the way businesses operate. It's not just about efficiency anymore. It's about creating all these new possibilities.
Exactly. And Alphabet is at the forefront of that transformation, helping businesses, of all sizes, navigate this new landscape and really unlock the potential of these technologies.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the positive stuff, AI, cloud, YouTube,
Right.
but they're facing some challenges, right?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of challenges are we talking about?
Well, one of the biggest is keeping up with this demand for their AI infrastructure.
Right.
We talked about it earlier. They're running into these capacity constraints, which could limit their growth.
That's a good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah.
It means their products are in demand, but they need to figure it out, right?
They need to address it quickly if they want to maintain that momentum.
Yeah, okay.
They are aware of it, and they've already announced plans to increase their capital expenditures in 2025, with a lot of that going towards building out that infrastructure.
So they're, throwing money at the problem.
Yeah.
But it's not just about spending more, right? They have to spend it wisely.
Absolutely. They've talked about driving further efficiencies. That could involve a lot of things like optimizing those data centers, managing headcount growth,
Right.
and just simplifying their structure to operate more leanly.
So it's a balancing act, invest to stay ahead, but do it carefully.
Exactly. And that's where their track record of innovation comes in.
Right.
They've proven they can develop groundbreaking tech and get it to market.
Another challenge is navigating search, with AI changing how people search for information.
Yeah, that's right.
They need to make sure search stays relevant in this new AI era.
They need to adapt to new search behaviors, seamlessly integrate AI, and find new ways to make money from it that align with how people use it.
It's a tall order, but they seem up to the task.
Yeah, and they've made progress with AI overviews, circle to search, and they keep experimenting.
They also have a ton of data and expertise in
Yes.
search. I mean, they've been doing this for over 2 decades.
Right.
They know how people search, so they're well positioned to adapt.
I think so.
So while there are challenges, they seem to have a lot going for them. Innovation, resources, commitment to AI, that gives them a big advantage, right?
Absolutely. They're not afraid to take risks and make big bets, and they have the money and the talent to back it up.
It's going to be fascinating to see how they evolve in the coming years.
Yeah.
But for now, let's take a closer look at the numbers from their Q4 2024 earnings.
Yeah, okay.
What were some of the key highlights there?
Well, one of the most impressive things is their revenue growth.
Oh, yeah.
They generated $96.5 billion in revenue in Q4, which is a 12% increase compared to the same time last year. And their full-year revenue for 2024 was a staggering $350 billion.
Wow. Those are big numbers. It shows they're still growing even as they made these big investments.
Exactly. And that growth is coming from strong performance across their businesses. Google Services, which includes search ads and YouTube, saw a 10% increase, reaching $84.1 billion.
So their core businesses are still doing well. What about their cloud segment? We talked about the demand they're seeing.
Their cloud business is doing really well. Revenue for Google Cloud surged by 30% in Q4, hitting $12 billion. And their Google Cloud Platform GCP is growing even faster.
Okay, so their bet on cloud is paying off. But what about profitability? Are they able to translate all this revenue growth into higher profits?
Yeah, they are. Their operating income increased by 31% in Q4, reaching $31 billion.
Wow.
And their operating margin expanded by 4.6 percentage points to 32%.
So they're not just growing, they're becoming more profitable too. That's a good sign. What about free cash flow?
Strong free cash flow, too. $24.8 billion in Q4 and $72.8 billion for all of 2024.
That's a lot of cash. What are they doing with all that money?
Well, they're giving a lot of it back to shareholders.
Wow.
In Q4, they repurchased $15 billion worth of shares and paid out $2.4 billion in dividends.
Wow.
And for all of 2024, they returned almost $70 billion to shareholders.
So they're being generous, but they're also investing strategically, right? We talked about that increase in capital expenditures to $75 billion in 2025.
Right. A big chunk of that's going to expanding their technical infrastructure, especially for AI. And they expect to spend between $16 and $18 billion in CapEx just in the first quarter of 2025.
So they're not shying away from spending where they see opportunity,
Right.
but they're being smart about the potential impact on profitability.
Yeah, they acknowledge those investments will mean higher depreciation costs in the next few years. And they're expecting some headcount growth in key areas like AI and cloud.
So if a balancing act, investing to stay ahead, but managing expenses.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why they're so focused on driving further efficiencies. It could involve optimizing their data centers, managing headcount, simplifying their structure to be more lean.
Yeah, it's a complex puzzle, but it seems like they're putting the pieces together pretty well.
I think so.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot: AI, cloud, YouTube, their self-driving car stuff, those other bets, and of course their numbers.
Yeah.
It seems like Alphabet is doing really well.
They are. They're leading in so many areas and doing it with a focus on innovation, execution, and being financially responsible.
As we said, they've got challenges like those capacity constraints in cloud and navigating search as it keeps evolving.
Yeah, but overall, I'd say they're in a strong position. They've got a great track record, deep understanding of the tech shaping the future, and a willingness to make big bets.
They also have a diverse business, across industries, which gives them a resilience that a lot of other tech companies don't have.
Right.
But maybe most importantly, they have a vision for the future and a commitment to making technology work for everyone.
I agree. They're not just building gadgets or developing algorithms. They're thinking about the bigger picture and how to use technology to address some of the world's most pressing challenges.
Okay, now let's shift gears and look at their advertising business. It's still a big part of their revenue. How did it perform in Q4?
It continued to grow, but there were some interesting trends. Google search and other advertising revenues increased by 13% to $54 billion.
Okay.
This strong performance was pretty broad across different industries, with financial services, particularly insurance, leading the way.
So even with AI changing everything, search ads are still a reliable source of revenue.
And it's interesting that financial services, especially insurance, are playing such a big role.
Yeah.
It suggests they're finding new ways to use search advertising.
What about YouTube advertising? How did that do?
YouTube advertising revenue also went up by 14% to $10.5 billion.
Wow.
Brand advertising led the way, followed by direct response advertising.
So it seems like YouTube's becoming more and more attractive for advertisers, both for building brands and driving sales.
Exactly. And it's not just about the overall growth. There were some interesting trends within that growth.
Okay.
For example, the U.S. election advertising played a role in boosting brand advertising, with spending from both parties nearly doubling compared to 2020.
That's pretty interesting. It shows YouTube's growing influence. It's a place where candidates can reach a ton of people.
Yeah.
And it's not just politics. They also saw good contributions from finance, retail, and tech.
Right.
So YouTube is becoming this go-to platform for advertisers across a lot of industries.
And it's important to remember that the year-over-year comparisons for all their ad revenue lines were impacted by that unusually strong advertising they had in Q4 2023,
Right.
particularly from retailers in Asia Pacific.
So it's something to keep in mind when looking at these numbers.
Yeah.
But even with that, it seems like their advertising business is still doing well.
Absolutely. And they're continuing to innovate and find new ways to make their advertising platforms better for both advertisers and users. And they're constantly experimenting with different ad formats and placements to try to optimize that performance.
Okay, what about their efforts in, I guess, what you call media buying?
Right.
How are they using AI to make it easier for advertisers to find the right audience?
They've made a lot of improvements there. For instance, they made YouTube Select Creator Takeovers generally available in the US, with plans to expand to more markets this year. This feature allows businesses to really connect with customers through authentic and relevant content from those popular creators.
It's like they're tapping into the power of influencer marketing on YouTube.
Exactly. Creators have a direct connection with their audience.
Right.
Businesses can tap into that through these takeovers.
Yeah, makes sense.
And they're also using AI to improve creative generation and measurement for advertisers.
Okay.
For example, they've introduced new controls and made reporting easier in Performance Max, which is their AI-powered campaign type.
So it's not just about putting ads out there. It's about making sure those ads are actually working and that advertisers can track what's happening.
Exactly. And they're seeing some really good results with these tools.
Yeah.
Like Event Ticket Center used asset generation in Performance Max, and they actually had a 5-fold increase in creative assets, which saved them a lot of time and effort. They also saw a 300% increase in conversions compared to when they were using manual assets.
Wow, those are some big numbers.
Yeah.
It shows that AI is not just hype. It's actually delivering for advertisers.
It is, and they're continuing to invest in it to make their platforms even better.
One of the areas where they're seeing really good results is with their AI-powered video campaigns on YouTube.
Right.
So they mentioned those are giving advertisers a better return on their ad spend compared to doing it manually.
Yeah, according to Nielsen, their AI-powered video campaigns on YouTube delivered an average of 17% higher return on ad spend.
Wow, that's a big difference.
And they're making it easier for businesses to measure how effective their campaigns are with tools like Meridian, their marketing mix model, which helps businesses understand the impact of their marketing across different platforms.
Yeah, that's important. It's not enough to just create ads. You got to know they're working.
Right. You need to see what kind of return you're getting.
Right, exactly.
And Alphabet's giving them the tools and insights they need to make smarter decisions about their marketing budget. But we can't forget about the users, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
The people actually seeing these ads. It's about finding that balance between showing them ads that are relevant and interesting while also respecting their privacy and not bombarding them with too much advertising.
Right, it's a tough balance.
And Alphabet is really trying to navigate that carefully. They're using AI to improve ad targeting, so
Wow.
users are more likely to see ads they care about. And they're giving users more control over the ads they see with things like ad personalization settings.
It's tricky. But it seems like they're finding ways to make advertising work for everyone.
I think so. And as AI keeps getting better, I think we'll see even more creative approaches that benefit both sides.
Definitely something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back to YouTube for a second. We were talking about their efforts to support creators and help them make money from their content.
Right.
But they're having some challenges there too, right?
One of the biggest is this gap between how much money they make from shorts versus longer videos.
Yeah,
Shorts, their short video format, is super popular,
right.
but it's been harder to make as much money from it compared to those longer videos.
That seems to be a common problem, for platforms trying to compete with TikTok.
Yeah.
Short videos are really engaging, but
Yeah.
figuring out how to put ads in there without messing up the user experience is tough.
Exactly. But YouTube is making progress.
Okay.
In 2024, the rate at which they make money from shorts, relative to those regular in-stream videos, actually increased by over 30 percentage points in the US.
That's pretty big. How are they closing that gap?
Well, they're experimenting with different ad formats just for shorts,
Huh?
and they're using AI to improve targeting and relevance.
So they're using AI to help solve this specific problem of making money from short videos.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money. They want to make shorts a bigger part of the whole YouTube experience.
How are they doing that?
Well, they're making it easier for people to find and watch shorts on all devices, even connected TVs.
Oh, okay.
Actually, connected TVs now account for 15% of shorts viewing in the US.
Wow.
So they're really pushing shorts as this premium content that deserves to be on the big screen.
And they're seeing success with it.
Yeah, like Louis Vuitton, they used a combination of ad formats to reach their target audience on both long and short content. Their shorts campaign actually did way better than the industry benchmark for how long people watch, by almost 90%.
So brands are seeing the value of shorts as a way to advertise.
Absolutely, and YouTube's putting more resources into shorts, adding new features, making it easier for creators to make good content in this format.
It's an interesting time for YouTube as they keep changing and adapting.
Yeah.
But it's not just YouTube. Alphabet is also making waves in other areas, like those self-driving cars with Waymo.
Right. Waymo's made a ton of progress in the past year.
Yeah.
They've given over 4 million passenger trips safely, and they're now averaging over 150,000 trips each week.
Wow, those are some pretty impressive numbers. It seems like they're getting closer to making self-driving cars a reality.
They are, and they're not just focused on the technology. They're expanding their network, their partnerships, opening up new markets.
Where are they expanding to?
They're launching in Austin and Atlanta this year and Miami next year.
Okay.
And get this, they're taking their Waymo One vehicles on a road trip, their first international one, all the way to Tokyo in the next few weeks.
Wow, that's a big step. They must be pretty confident in their technology.
They are, and they're already working on their 6th generation of the Waymo driver, which they say will make the hardware much cheaper.
So they're making it more affordable. It's clear they're a company to watch.
Absolutely. They're one of the leaders, and they're pushing the boundaries of what's possible with this tech.
And Alphabet's ventures into new areas don't stop there, right? We've got those other bets.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Right. Other bets includes companies like Verily focused on life sciences and healthcare,
Right.
Calico, which is researching aging,
Wow.
and Wing developing drone delivery technology.
It's amazing how they're willing to explore so many different things. Cutting edge AI,
Yeah.
healthcare, drones. It's like a venture capital firm inside this tech giant.
It kind of is. They're not afraid to take risks and invest in areas that could completely change industries.
But those other bets are still pretty small compared to their main businesses, right?
Yeah.
How do they do?
In Q4, Other Bets made $400 million in revenue,
Okay.
but they had an operating loss of $1.2 billion. And that's mainly because of a milestone payment they got back in Q4 2023 for one of those bets.
So they're still in those early stages, but could be big for Alphabet in the long run.
Exactly. For now, it's about exploring and experimenting.
So we've covered a lot today.
We have.
AI strategy, cloud, YouTube still dominating, their self-driving cars, Other Bets, and their strong financial performance. Alphabet's firing on all cylinders.
They really are. They're leading the charge in the most exciting areas of technology and doing it in a smart, responsible way.
But like we said, there are challenges. Keeping up with the demand for AI infrastructure is probably the biggest one. Those capacity constraints could slow them down in cloud.
That's right, but they're dealing with it by investing more and trying to make their data centers and operations run better.
And then there's navigating search as it changes with AI.
Yeah, a moving target for sure.
They have to keep adapting. But they're making progress with those AI overviews and features like Circle to Search.
They are, and they're constantly experimenting with new ideas.
So they've got challenges, but they seem ready for them. Innovation, understanding the tech, willing to make those big bets.
Yeah,
And that diverse business portfolio helps too.
it does. It gives them resilience.
But maybe most importantly, that vision for the future and that commitment to making technology benefit everyone.
I agree. It sets them apart. They're thinking about more than just profits. They're thinking about how their work can have a positive impact on the world.
Okay, let's dig a little deeper into some of their specific initiatives.
Sure.
We touched on their advertising business, their work with YouTube creators, and the progress they're making with Waymo, their self-driving car company.
Yeah, lots going on there.
And then there's those more experimental ventures, like Other Bets, with companies working on things from healthcare to drone delivery.
Really pushing boundaries.
Throughout all of this, their dedication to AI is really clear.
Absolutely. They're all in on AI. They see it as transformative, something that's going to revolutionize everything.
And it's not just talk. They're investing heavily in research, acquiring AI startups, putting AI into every part of their business.
Right.
And they're not just doing this on their own. They're collaborating with researchers and developers all over the world. It shows they see AI as more than just business. It's about using it for good, to improve lives.
It's about solving problems.
Yeah.
And their approach is ambitious, but also responsible. They're not just focused on building the most powerful algorithms. They're thinking about the ethics, how to make sure AI is used in a way that benefits everyone.
So challenges ahead, but they seem well positioned for the future.
I think so.
They're one of the most influential companies. Their decisions have a big impact.
They do, on technology and society.
Before we wrap up, I want to highlight something else that stood out. Their commitment to sustainability.
Oh yeah, they've been talking about that more and more.
It's not just reducing their carbon footprint, which they're doing, but also helping others be more sustainable.
What kind of things are they doing?
They're using AI to make their data centers use less energy
Right.
and to create tools that help track and reduce carbon emissions.
That's great.
They're working with partners to develop sustainable products, like those Nest thermostats.
Yeah.
And they're using their reach to raise awareness about climate change and promote sustainability.
It's good to see a company like that taking it seriously.
It shows they get it. It's not just about profits. It's about responsibility, creating a better future.
And using their power for good.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything about Alphabet's Q4 and their vision for the future.
Yeah, I think so.
They're pushing boundaries, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next.
I agree. They're definitely a company to watch. Their work will affect our lives in the years to come.
Before we finish up, I like to leave people with something to think about, something that builds on what we talked about but takes it a bit further.
I always look forward to that. What do you have for us today?
Well, we've talked about how they're using AI to improve their products.
Yeah.
But what if they used AI to create things we haven't even thought of yet?
Whoa. It's like asking someone in the early days of the internet to predict what it'd be like with smartphones.
Exactly. It's still early for AI. Who knows where it'll go? But Alphabet, with their resources and talent, they'll be at the forefront.
They're not afraid to experiment, and they turn those experiments into world-changing things.
So here's the thought. What if they used AI to tackle some of the world's biggest problems, like climate change, poverty, disease?
That's powerful. We talked about sustainability, but imagine if they put that much effort into those other issues too.
It's a really exciting possibility.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that AI can be used for good or bad.
That's right.
We have to make sure we're steering it towards a better future for everyone.
Couldn't agree more.
So we've looked at their AI efforts, their cloud business, YouTube, their move into self-driving cars with Waymo, and those experimental other bets.
A lot to unpack there.
We've also talked about their advertising business, how they're supporting YouTube creators, and the challenges they face, like keeping up with demand for AI and adapting to the evolving world of search.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces.
But overall, Alphabet is in a strong position. Financially, strategically, they're a leader.
They are. They're pushing boundaries, and they seem to be doing it the right way.
They're not afraid to take risks, they have the resources to back it up, and they're not just focused on profits.
Right. It's about the bigger picture.
One thing that really stood out to me is their commitment to sustainability. They're not just talking about it, they're actually taking action, both to reduce their own impact and to help others do the same.
It's good to see.
Well, we've covered a lot today.
We have.
They're an amazing company, and it'll be fascinating to see what they do next. It's been a really fascinating look at Alphabet's world, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. A company that never ceases to amaze.
Before we wrap up, I always like to leave our listeners with something to ponder, thought that maybe builds on what we've talked about, but takes it in a slightly different direction.
I always enjoy those. What do you have for us today?
Well, we've spent a lot of time talking about how Alphabet's using AI to improve what they're already doing.
Right.
But what about AI to create entirely new things we haven't even thought of yet?
That's a really interesting question. It's almost like asking someone you know back in the early days of the internet to predict what the world would be like with smartphones and social media.
Exactly. We're still in those early stages with AI. Who knows where it'll take us? But I think it's safe to say that Alphabet, with all their resources and talent, will be leading the charge.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They're not afraid to experiment and push the boundaries, and they've got a great track record of turning those experiments into, world-changing things.
So here's the thought I'll leave our listeners with. What if Alphabet used all this AI expertise to tackle some of the world's biggest problems like climate change or poverty or disease?
That's a powerful idea. We talked about their sustainability efforts, but imagine if they dedicated the same level of resources and ingenuity to these other big challenges.
It's a really exciting possibility to consider. And it reminds us that AI, like any powerful technology, can be used for good or for bad.
It's true.
It's up to us as a society to make sure we're steering it in the right direction towards a better future for everyone.
Well said. A perfect note to end on, I think.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.